DDLG or daddy dom little girl relationships aren't just about cute little outfits and bedtime routines. It can be soft, deep, powerful, and yeah, sometimes a little kinky. I'm Alessandra from Dom Sub Living, and if you've ever been curious about these types of caregiver dynamics, stick around. Welcome to the Dom Sub Living podcast. Before we get into it, if you're trying to build or deepen a DD little dynamic, I made you something. Grab my free list of over 20 rules, punishment, chores, and rewards at domsubliving.com/DDLG. It's totally free and it's one of my most downloaded resources ever. You can click the link in the description or download it for free at domsubliving.com/DDLG. Okay, let's get started. So this episode is actually inspired by a comment from one of my All Access Pass members. They posted it in the forum. We have great conversations there. You can join the community at domsubliving.com/community. But we were talking about what's your favorite little space activity that helps you decompress. There was a bunch of great ideas, but this one member asked if I had a podcast episode just for DDLG or caregiver little relationships because they couldn't find much that explained that what those dynamics really are. And honestly, that question made my heart ache a little because they're right. There's so much surface level content out there, but barely anything that goes beyond just wear a collar and call him daddy. So this episode is going to change that. We're talking about what being a baby girl or little or even middle actually looks like. Not the stereotypes, not the aesthetics, the real stuff. Let's start with a question. When you think of DDLG, what's the first image that comes to mind? Be honest, for most people, it's something like stuffed animals, onesies, maybe pacifiers, high voices like, "Daddy, can you read me a story?" That type of stuff, right? And that's what the internet shows. And don't get me wrong, those things can be totally part of it, but the real core of DDLG isn't in the props, it's in the dynamic. DDLG stands for Daddy Dom Little Girl. It's a subset of the larger caregiver little umbrella, and that's also known as CGL. And this dynamic is a lot like other Dom sub relationships. And it's still about structure and nurture and protection and vulnerability. The daddy part is about being a grounded, loving authority figure, not someone controlling or overbearing. And the little part is about softness and playfulness and innocence and needing guidance and surrendering to a safe and trusted person. It's emotional, it's relational, and it's deeply personal. But who can be a baby girl? Well, let's clear something up right now. Being a baby or little isn't about your age, and it's definitely not about your gender either. You can be a baby girl and be non-binary. You can be a middle-aged woman and still identify as a little. You can be a man who resonates with the baby boy energy or even baby girl energy, to be honest. There really are no rules when it comes to this. It's just about who you are inside, and it's about how you relate to structure and nurture. It's about how you feel safe letting go and showing up. And one thing I hear a lot is, well, I love the idea of being taken care of, but I'm also strong and independent. That's totally common and it doesn't disqualify you. You are allowed to be both. So now that we talked about who can be a little or a baby girl, let's talk about the baby girl experience. So, what does being a baby girl or little actually look like? Well, for some people, it's coloring with crayons and asking for permission to go to the bathroom. And for others, it's a text in the morning where you say, "Good morning, Daddy. Here's what I'm going to do today. I'll check in with you before bed." Funny story, one time I woke up and texted my mom by accident and said, "Good morning, Daddy." And I just immediately texted again, "Whoops, sorry, just disregard that. That was supposed to be for Jay." And she just replied with LOL, and I wanted to die. But anyways, back to the episode. So littles love rules and structure. Some of them thrive on spontaneous cuddles and praise. Some want a strict punishment system. Others just want to feel seen and emotionally safe. There's no rule book that makes you a real baby or little. Personally, for me, my dom and I use protocols and rituals and gentle correction at times. There is a bedtime routine, there's service, there's obedience. And yes, sometimes when I'm really feeling in little space, I will use a pacifier and wear a onesie and have my stuffed animal and my blankie and use my little voice and my little words, and he'll read me stories. So you can take it as far as you want to. But if you've ever thought, "This dynamic sounds amazing, but I don't relate to the whole baby talk and pacifier thing," you're not doing it wrong. Your approach is still valid. Now let's talk about some of the different roles people take on in these types of dynamics. So, first we have littles. Littles tend to regress to a younger emotional age. And this is just kind of the more general term. So, they usually do things maybe like coloring, taking naps, stuffies, needing constant reassurance. Again, there's no rules around this, everyone's different. And then we have middles. So, imagine a tween or teen type of headspace. There's more independence, more sass, more attitude. Maybe there's still rules, but there's also self expression too. And then we have baby girls or just babies or baby boys. This can be more of an emotional identity than just like an age play role. Baby girls may not age regress at all, but they still crave protection sometimes and affection and praise. They may want to be spoiled like a prince or a princess. And then there's brats. These are the playful rule breakers. They push boundaries to get attention or to get connection, but I want to stress that it's intentional. It's not disrespectful bratting. And some people are a mix. Some shift depending on the partner or the mood or the time of day. I know I'm that way. Some people will say, "My little age is 7 years old." And I've never felt fixed to a set number because I do flow to very, very young to almost teenage like. And I definitely do brat a lot. Just ask my Dom. It just depends on the mood and the situation. But guess what? No matter what your mix is or what your little age is, it is all valid as long as it's consensual. Now, you may be thinking at this point, so what's the difference between DDLG and something like DDBG? Honestly, what I think is I would say it's more of a vibe than a role. So DDLG is often more traditional, more role play, and it kind of just tends to focus on the daddy little girl dynamic and age play. DDBG can feel more emotionally mature. It's still structured, it's still nurturing, but it's less about pretending to be a child and more about soft surrender. Baby girls in DDBG dynamics might still have jobs and kids and vanilla lives, and at the end of the day, they just still want to curl up in their dom's lap and be spoiled. But let me say this clearly, you don't need to be in little space 24/7 to be a baby or a little. You don't need to regress or wear certain clothes. whatever your headspace is, it's more than the aesthetics of it. Now let's talk about what it actually means to be a daddy dom or a mommy dom or any caregiver. This type of person isn't just in charge, they're responsible, they're consistent, they know how to correct without crushing the other person, and they see their little in a way that makes them feel safe to surrender. They might set daily rituals or have rules. They might give rewards and consequences. They can offer guidance and they can provide structure when the world feels too big. One of my favorite things my Dom ever did was just give me a set of bedtime rules. It started during a really stressful season in my life. I felt like the world was spinning and he just anchored me. Every night, no matter what, I had to come to him and report that I brushed my teeth, that I washed my face, and that I turned my phone, off and I had to turn it into him so he could put it away. And having that simple ritual made me feel cared for without feeling, belittled. And so we still do that to this day. So, if you've been listening to this and you are wanting to get started, well, how do you build a DDLG or CGL relationship? Well, if you're totally brand new to this dynamic, or even if you're just trying to deepen it, start small. Here are a few ideas to get you started. So, pick one ritual. This could be a morning check in, a bedtime kiss, journaling, things like that. You can try nicknames. So, princess, bunny, little one, or just whatever feels right. My Dom calls me Babygirl. He even has my contact stored that way on his phone. You can also set rules, and these can be playful or even practical, like no screen time after 9 p.m., or you have to ask permission to have a snack. And then you can incorporate rewards. So things like sticker charts, cuddle coupons, or different affirmations. If you're a member of our Dom Sub training course, you have access to a whole video where we share how we do sticker charts for behavior modification in my dynamic. But always remember to use correction carefully. Gentle discipline works best when it's consistent and safe. And if your partner isn't a natural daddy or caregiver, don't panic. That can be learned. It's a skill. That's what I teach. That's why my resources exist. You don't need to have it all figured out on day one. Now, let's go over some of the most common mistakes I see when it comes to these types of dynamics because let's be real, the dynamic comes with challenges, and especially for adult women who are smart and capable and used to being in control and have had to fight in society to gain the type of independence that we have now. So here are some of the things I hear the most. So I hear people say, I feel silly asking to be taken care of, or my partner doesn't get it, or they think it's gross, or I want structure, but I don't want to act like a child, or, just simply, I feel like I'm too old for this. And to all of that, I say this dynamic isn't about immaturity, it's about intimacy, it's about trust, it's about voluntary vulnerability. You're not too old, you're not too complicated, and you're not asking for too much. I want you to hear this. There is nothing wrong with needing care or wanting to give someone care. There is nothing wrong with craving rules or praise or someone who sees your soft side or wanting to be that safe space for someone else. DDLG might be cute, it might be playful, but it's also healing, like deeply healing. So if you've ever felt misunderstood, if you've ever wondered where you fit, you're not alone. This space is for you too. So don't forget to grab your free DDLG starter list at domsubliving.com/DDLG. It includes over 20 rules, punishments, chores, and rewards you can start using right away, no matter your experience level. And I'd love to hear from you. Are you or your partner more of a baby girl, a middle, a little, or a brat, or something else entirely? Leave a comment or message me on social media and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for being here, and until next time, keep embracing your power and pleasure through Dom Subliving.